In just a few hours, President Trump heads to Nevada, another controversial stop, raising many questions at an event overnight in Phoenix, among other things, threatening to shut down the government over funding for the border wall. Listen.
The obstructionist Democrats would like us not to do it, but believe me, if we have to close down our government, we're building that wall.
With me now to discuss, Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma. He sits on the House Budget and Appropriations Committee. You have a vested interest in, say, funding the government, Congressman. And do you welcome the president saying he will shut down the government if he doesn't get the funding he wants for the border wall?
No, I think it's always a mistake to shut down the government. Look, you make life worse for the American people. You put the country at risk. It shows political dysfunction, particularly when you control the presidency, the Senate, and the House. So I would strongly advise against any threat to shut down the government of the United States.
You have said the White House needs to be more disciplined. Does that comment from the president, does that fall within the scope of what you consider disciplined?
No, I don't. Although I must say, we saw sort of two different presidents in the last two nights. I thought the president did an exceptional job on Afghanistan, and frankly was very brutally honest with the American people. Told them, look, this was actually something I didn't want to do. I went through a lengthy process, which he did, very disciplined process. I relied on the best advice I can get, and this is what I think the best thing for the country is to do, and I'm going to pursue this, even though it's somewhat at odds with my earlier positions. I liked that a lot, and I respected the president for being straightforward. So I think we would be better served if that's the president we saw more often. But again, he ran as an unorthodox, unconventional political figure, and I think he still is. But he's one, as he showed last night, to draw in an awful lot of support, has a lot of folks that agree with him.
But you seem to offer up last night as something in opposition to the version of the president that you liked Monday night, when, of course, both you and I and now everyone seems to know we're, in fact, talking about one human being. You know, there is one Donald J. Trump who is president of the United States, and all of this is part of him right now, including the part which you seem to think is not disciplined enough.
Well, I think that's a fair statement. Look, he's a complex person, but he is the president of the United States, and on most issues we agree, and I'm certainly going to try to work with him where I can. I worry a little bit on this wall issue on both sides. If you actually know what's in the bill, and I do, it's $1.6 billion in a better than $1 trillion spending bill if you look at all 12 bills, and it's enhanced border security. There certainly is some construction in it. But there's also things like additional judges to make sure we can process cases more rapidly. So, this is, and this should actually be a point of agreement. We all believe in stronger security on the border. And I think if you focus there and put your rhetoric there, instead of in symbolism, you can actually achieve an agreement. We did that, by the way, just last May.
A big part of your career now is the budget in spending. An earlier part of your career was all devoted to electing Republicans to different offices and re-electing, sitting Republicans in Congress right now. And now the President of the United States is taking direct aim at Republican incumbents, including Jeff Flake of Arizona right now. Having done what you did, I can't believe that doesn't go counter to your DNA.
It does. Look, I think it's okay to say where you differ with people, and sometimes that's very healthy. And frankly, I have to tell you, I think the president was right in saying that the failure on health care was a congressional failure. It was primarily a Senate failure. And I think having that discussion and being honest about it is true. And frankly, if they just voted to move the bill, we would have gone to conference. You could have still stopped it later. So he's got every right to be frustrated, but I think usually it's a mistake to personalize things in politics because, who's your opponent today can be your friend tomorrow. That's true, by the way, on both sides of the aisle. We have some Democrats that could vote with us on a number of things, but if we make it impossible for them to do that, they're going to put their own political survival ahead of, frankly, maybe what is in something they actually believe. So, again, I would just advise a different style. You reach out to people. You're not shy about where you disagree, but again, don't make it personal. And remember, these are members of your team, and you've got a lot to get done this fall. You're going to need every vote you've got in the United States Senate.
All right, Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.